Hey, BookTube Sean here. I know it's been a few weeks since my last video, and as I'm filming this right now, it is the day after Christmas. So, whatever holiday you celebrate during this time, I hope it was wonderful. Hope you got a lot of good time in with family, because that's really what is important about the holiday season, not the gifts, the time with family. So today I am filming something I meant to film weeks ago and just never got around to filming. Just been trying to get my schedule worked out with now having rehearsals a few times a week, and this time of year is just crazy anyway. So finally getting a chance to film, and so today I'm going to film a library book sale haul that I actually went to several weeks ago. And I meant to actually film that day when I got home, and then life just happened. So I think I got like somewhere 17, 18, 19 books at the library book sale, all for under $20. So that was nice. So let's just get into it, because it's a lot of books, and I have a tendency to ramble on. First thing I picked up was, or first thing in the pile, A Certain Age by Beatrice Williams. This is a historical fiction novel set in the 20s, and I've said it before, the 20s is about my favorite decade, and I've been interested in reading some Beatrice Williams. I had her Wicked City checked out from the library a few months ago and never got around to it, and actually it should be coming in the mail today, actually, because the trade paperback was released today and I pre-ordered it. So, yeah, just been kind of interested in checking her out. So, pick that up. And I got to figure out a place to set these. Next thing I picked up was Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. I actually hauled from another library book sale video his corrections. So I was happy to find a nice hardcover edition. Even though hardcover is not my preferred edition, the corrections was hardcover, so I have, both of his in hardcover now, so they'll match on the bookshelf if I ever can get some bookshelves. But anyway, don't know much about it, but Jonathan Franzen is an author that, another author I've been wanting to check out for quite a while and have just never gotten around to it. Next on the stack is a biography of Cleopatra by Tracy Schiff. It's a nonfiction. And Tracy Schiff is the author of the more recent Salem. I forget the full title of the book, but she was the author of the book about the Salem witch trials that came out within the past year or two, and I actually showed it in one of my videos because I had it checked out from the library around the time I went to Massachusetts. But so yeah, this should be pretty interesting. Next, and I know I have some BookTube friends that are going to be excited to see this on my library book sale haul. I got Sworn to Silence by Linda Castillo. And this is the first book in her, I think it's Kate Burkholder. Is that Kate Burkholder Amish mystery series. So I actually had this on audio for a little bit, and then I didn't finish it before it got returned. So I actually have read part of this, so I'll be curious to get back into it and check out, because I was enjoying it. So it was nice to have a copy of it now that won't get taken back. And I got a couple of I've told you guys before, I collect classic movie star biographies, so anytime I'm at a library sale or a thrift store or something, that's the first thing I usually look for is classic movie star biographies, and I was able to get Julie Andrews' memoir of her early years called Home, and I was able to get an old Mae West biography as well. So this one especially was, I think, a pretty good find, because this is definitely an older, out-of-print Mae West biography. I got Tracy Chevalier's The Lady and the Unicorn. I have her Girl with the Pearl Earring on my Kindle. I haven't read it yet, so I'm not even sure if Tracy Chevalier is an author I like, but I've heard good things about the Girl with the Pearl Earring, and this is a little ripped here, but that don't make any difference to me because the naked book of this is just beautiful. Look at this. I mean, if I would buy it for that alone. And I kind of did because it was like 50 cents, and it'll look pretty even if I don't get around to it for a while. Next, I got Isabel Allende's The Japanese Lover. I've heard good things about this author's historical fiction. I've heard good things about the author. I also picked up her Daughter of Fortune, which is her more well-known work. So she's been an author I've been interested in checking out. I've heard good things, especially about this book. And the description of this one just sounded really interesting. I won't read it because I'm trying to make this video a little bit shorter, but it does have to do with somebody falling in love with a Japanese person during World War II, I believe, and it was kind of a forbidden love affair, and they got separated, and I think they find each other again. But I've heard good things about the author, so I'm excited to get into those. Next, I picked up Kazuo Ishiguro's The Buried Giant. Most of you probably know Kazuo Ishiguro won the Nobel Prize for Literature this year. I have his Never Let Me Go that I haven't read yet, but I've actually heard mixed things about this book, but for 25, 50 cents, whatever this would cost me, it was definitely worth grabbing. I picked up this book called The Tavern on Maple Street by Sharon Owens, and this one I am going to read the back up because this was just, I found it and it looked interesting. I've never heard anything about this author or this book or anything. It just sounded like a nice kind of lighthearted escape story. At the end of a cobblestone path is a quaint Victorian pub, untouched by the modern world. That's why it's a favorite among locals, and that's the way its owners, Jack and Lily Beaumont, want it. More than a business, it's a family tradition whose loyal following comes in to dream and reminisce over a cool stout. It's an inspiration for its young barmaids, each with her own private passion. It's the last chance for people like writer Liam Bradley and his vulnerable wife, Betsy, and the last stop for a developer who threatens to rock the foundation of all Jack and Lily have fought so hard for. But there's a secret about the tavern on Maple Street that no one knows. Once discovered, it'll raise the stakes even further, and it'll redefine the meanings of love, friendship, and family in the most unsurprising ways. So that sounded just like a nice read to me. And I always try to find one or two things in a library book sale that I haven't heard of before, and not just pick up things, especially now that I been on BookTube this year, not just things I've heard about in other people's videos. I always want to try and find one or two things that just catch my eye and look interesting, and then maybe I can introduce them to you guys. Next, I picked up Anita Diamant's The Red Tent. 10th anniversary edition apparently, but I read Boston Girl in November and absolutely loved it, so I want to read everything Anita Diamant has written, and I've actually picked up them all now, which the other ones I'll cover in another book haul, but I got this one at the library sale, and that's what this book haul is covering. So The Red Tent by Anita Diamant, and this is the story of this is a historical fiction about some of the lesser talked about women in the Bible, is what I've heard about it. I'm getting a glare on these books, so I'm gonna try to fix that a little bit. My lamp shade is broken, so it doesn't hold its position anymore. This is another one that just caught my eye and sounded interesting. This is Joanne Harris, Coastliners. And again, I'll just read the back of it because it's quick, and this is the best way I can describe it to you because I've never heard of it. Motto has been adrift for too long. After 10 years in Paris, she returns to the small island of Le Devon, the home that has haunted her since she left. Le Devon is shaped somewhat like a sleeping woman. At her head is the village of Les Salins, while its more prosperous rival, La Houssinière, lies at her feet. Yet even though you can walk from one to the other in an hour, they are worlds apart. And now Motto is back in Les Salins, hoping to reconcile with her estranged father. But what she doesn't realize is that it is not only her father whose trust she must regain. So it just kind of sounded a little intriguing. And again, it was one of those ones that I just came across. And for 50 cents, it's worth checking out. Next is Stones from the River by Ursula Hedgie, I think. I think that's an I at the end of there. And again, I'll just read the description. I've heard of this one before, but I don't remember what I've heard about it. So it was one when I saw it, I went, oh yeah, I've heard of that book. So I'll just read the back because it's really short. From the acclaimed award-winning author of Floating in My Mother's Palm comes a stunning novel about ordinary people living in extraordinary times. Trudy Montag is a Zwerg, a dwarf, short, undesirable, different, the voice of anyone who has ever tried to fit in. Eventually she learns that being different is a secret that all humans share, from her mother who flees into madness to her friend George whose parents pretend he's a girl, to the Jews Trudy harbors in her cellar. Ursula Hedgie brings us a timeless and unforgettable story in Trudy and a small town, weaving together a profound tapestry of emotional power, humanity, and truth. And that just sounded good. So, again, 50 cents. I should have put my glasses on before I started reading back some books. Next, I picked up The Help by Catherine Sackett, a historical fiction novel. This is obviously the movie cover. I don't think I need to say a lot about this book. This got a lot of attention, especially around the time the movie came out. I'm not the biggest fan of the movie cover, but it's what they had. Next, I picked up Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. And this actually takes place in Michigan, or right around the area I live in. And this is, I think this is about a trans youth, from what I've heard. Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. I know Stephanie, that's what she read, really loves this book. And it's a Pulitzer Prize winner, too. So, but yeah, it's something I've been interested in for a while. I was actually going to read it this past year when I was doing the book Read Harder challenge. There was a challenge of read something that's like within 500 miles of where you live, something 550, something like that. And this is what I was going to read for that, but I never got around to it. Next, I picked up Under the Tuscan Sun, just something I've been interested in reading for a while, by Frances Mays. Again, not crazy about the movie cover, but that's what they had. Next, I have this book on my Kindle, but since they had a physical copy of it for 50 cents, I picked up Let the Great World Spin by Colum McCann, and this is a National Book Award winner, so this will work. This is one of the books I need for my award winners project. Like I said, I have it on my Kindle, but to grab a physical copy of it for 50 cents was nice. And this is a collection of short stories that are interconnected, I think, through this high wire act thing that's going on up here. I think this is the connecting factor between all the short stories. And then this, another historical fiction novel I picked up. I think it's historical fiction. Yeah, it's historical fiction / vampire-y. because it deals with Vlad the Impaler too. But it's The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. And I actually have the hardcover version of this, but it is so big and chunky. It's very difficult to manage, and it's very uncomfortable to read. So I was really happy to find a trade paperback copy of that, and I'll just donate the hardcover. So that's it. That is what I picked up at the library book sale. And I actually did close to 20 books in under 20 minutes. So yay me. That's rare for me. Sometimes 10 books takes me 20 minutes. Anyway, I'm doing some filming this evening, so this isn't the only thing I'm filming. This is just the first thing that I'm filming. So I have we'll have some other content coming up either before or after this. Anyway, hope you are all doing well. Thank you to all my subscribers who stick with me, even though I haven't been producing a ton of content lately. I appreciate you all. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you come back. And I wish you all good reading. See you all in my next video.